All right, guys, we are going to see if we can do this in a way where I can show you my slides and go live. So welcome to Modern Business Mastery. If you will give me just a moment, I am going to share my screen and we're going to get going and it's going to be amazing. So let me see if I can share. Okay, cool. We'll do it this way. All right. I love that you can see my notes. That's okay though. We will put this in presentation mode and we'll just go with it because I know my stuff. All right. Hopefully you all can see this. Guys, I'm learning, so just give me a little bit of a learning curve here to figure out how exactly we do this in a way that I can see my notes too. Oh, awesome. All right. So yeah, I'll stop sharing for a second. Guys, welcome to Modern Business Mastery. Today, our session is called Story is the Strategy. I am learning the learning curve on this. And, we're going to do it messy because that's just how this works. I'm actually going to pull up Canva on my phone if I can. And that way I have my notes with me. And let's do it. We'll present or share. And we'll go because it's going to be awesome. All right. Yeah, let's not do that. So here is what we will do. We're going to go over here to share and we're going to present. All right. Welcome. I am so glad that you guys are here today. All right. My name is Kelly Harris, and this is done in part with Modern Business Mastery. So I'm looking down because I'm looking at my notes because it's not showing. So awesome. So I am part of Modern Business Mastery, and this is one of their guest expert sections. I have now done this. I am here to talk about Story is the Strategy. Like I said, this is in part with Modern Business Mastery. If you haven't checked them out, you absolutely should. They're amazing. And I'm really blessed to be a part of this. So who am I? I am not just a copywriter or a connector or a storyteller. I'm all of those things. And I really help my clients move forward and grow their business. So I'm a business growth strategist who uses stories to help their clients along, help my clients along. I am a mom of 4. I wear all the hats, and it is my mission to help solopreneurs basically craft messages that actually speak to their audience. So if you would like more information for Modern Business Mastery, you can join the newsletter. You can do a free strategy building session, connect on LinkedIn, or download to Goals Game Plan. Any of those, you can take a photo of the QR code and you will be able to connect directly with them. So here are the links if you can't. And we will get started. It's going to be amazing. So today we're talking about the heart of marketing. Why is it so important? For me, this is one of the very first frameworks that I put together when I started marketing. And that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get into the heart framework, what I really want to talk about is why stories matter. Stories are all around us. A lot of people do not understand the value of stories. They misinterpret stories and storytelling as that's a fun way to, listen to some things, but not actually have to, it doesn't matter. I can't use that in marketing. I can't use that to make more money. And the truth of the matter is, is that if you do it correctly, you can make quite a bit more money because we live in a world where messaging and AI and all of those things are thrown at us. And we get something like 10,000 marketing messages a day, which is crazy. And our brains They ignore most of it. So story matters because story is the thing that our brains are wired for. We had verbal oral language like 30,000 years before we ever had a written language. And so our brains are wired for storytelling. And when you tell the right stories, you do one of two things: you attract the right clients, you repel the wrong clients, um, and you become very memorable. So that is why stories matter. So we're going to talk about the heart of marketing. What is important about marketing, why I love it so much, is that if you can remember the word heart, then you can be an amazing marketer. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing is we are looking for ways to build those connections. I'm a big believer in relationship marketing, and I am so excited that we get to do that. In fact, I'm actually going to take a second and tell you what I'm doing so that you don't think I'm just ignoring you, but I'm going to take a second and I am going to see if I can pull this up on my phone, which, if you know me, you know that we've had a rough go of a few things. And one of them currently is the cell phone, is a bit of a struggle because it got dropped and now the screen is broken. And so we do the best we can with the thing that we have. And trying to look and see if I can see any comments. Um, the other piece of this is that we I want to make sure I'm not trying to mess up anything as I'm trying to look at notes and things, but I was trying to look to see if anybody has responded. And if you have, um, if I can't see your notes right now, I will definitely look at them and get back to you with them very, very soon. Okay. And I also know that I do talk kind of fast. So stay with me, but let's get into this. What is the heart? The first heart is the being human. What is the moment that shaped you? I also have used the H to mean harmony, meaning that you have to understand yourself in order and the products and services that you are selling in order to be able to articulate them to other human beings. Um, this one's huge because we're all humans and we're all shaped by different things. And we all come to the table, even if we've had the same experiences as someone else, most of the time our perspective on that experience is not the same. So we all come to the table with a variety of experiences, a variety of perceptions, and a variety of moments that altered our our course. And so when you are human and you can share the moment that shaped you, people start to pay attention and they start to feel like they're not alone. The E stands for the emotion. What does it cost you? When you are sharing, you are putting yourself, there's a vulnerability piece here that is lovely and beautiful. Like I said, I'm looking for my notes, guys, so stay with me. Um, and that's okay, you know? Um, there needs to be emotion. I'm not saying huge outbursts, and we can have a whole conversation about how when you put things out there, there are going to be people who stomp all over it because they makes them very uncomfortable. But you have to be willing to share that emotion. You have to be willing to say, here is my thought on this. Here is how I feel about this thing, to be able to share it with others and to connect with others. Hold on. Almost have it. Like I said, I would show you guys my phone. You can probably see the light flashing on my face because it is that messed up. Um, so it's okay. We're going to keep moving forward. And I do have a Q&A time when I will stop sharing at the end so that you guys can get into a rousing discussion on this because I love this stuff. It's my favorite. And I'm here to kind of talk to anybody who listen about it. So um, let me find, here we are. Oh, also, I was supposed to tell you, and I forgot, that this is not just a listening section. There will be an opportunity for you to actually try this out. Um, because if you know anything about me, I don't just talk, I don't just teach you things. I want you to engage with it and find find ways to use it for yourself. So here's the thing. With emotion, you have to engage. You have to People move because they feel seen. People take action because they feel seen. Here are some of my notes. It's still kind of a little bumpy. Here's the thing. Emotion's not hype, guys. Emotion is recognition. You are recognizing what is happening in that moment. So, what emotion do you want your audience to feel before they hire you? You can ask that in the way, what emotion does my audience need to feel before they'll hire me? Or, you can name one overwhelmed, invisible emotion um, that people are feeling before they work with you or after they work with you, right? So emotion is super important because it leads to that engagement. Oh, sorry, skipped one. Alignment. Ooh, this one is kind of heavy. If we're really talking about it, it's kind of heavy because alignment is talking about the belief that you stand on now. More so than that, it is your values. It is what you sound like today. And are you going to sound like that tomorrow? And what does this, here's an example. Does this sound like you on a hard day? If you were marketing, if your marketing disappears overnight, or your marketing voice disappears when you're tired, or your marketing voice disappears when you've had a hard day, then it's probably not in alignment with you, right? So I want you to take one marketing phrase that you use and rewrite it in your own words. Maybe it's something that you've heard someone else use and you have just kind of adopted it. But I want you to take a second so if I was doing this, I'd be like, what does that really mean to Kelly? Right? What does it really mean to Kelly? And is this in alignment with my values and what I want people to know me for? So the next thing I want you to think about. Now that we've talked about being human, we've talked about how we engage and we engage through alignment, the belief that we stand on now. Really, those are the rocks, the foundational pieces, right? The next thing is resonance. Who is this for? If you are talking to everyone, you are talking to no one. Um, and that's okay. But just know that if you're talking to everyone, they're going to do this. That sounds good, but like, I don't think she's actually talking to me. But what happens when you talk to one person, if you say, I work with women entrepreneurs who are moms who want to be financially stable and not have to choose between family and finances, then what ends up happening is that people who stand on those alignments, on those values, start to become attracted as well. So when you are doing messaging, who is this for? You pick that one person and you talk to them, and what you'll find is that other people will reach out for you. Let me give you an example. I was very blessed to be a part of a business for, let's see, 5 years. 5 years. They were in business for 8. And I started with being just a consumer of their product. And their goal was so moms don't have to choose between families and finance. Just that's it. That's exactly who they went for. We were looking at moms. We want moms who don't want to have to choose between being home with their kids and having a full-time job. Why can't they have both? And what ended up happening to this wonderful woman is she started getting messages. I'm a dog mom. Can I be part of your program? I have cats. Is that okay? I don't have kids, but I have nieces. And I would love to be able to create this before I have kids. Or, so the program was called the Free Mama. And she actually had 2 men reach out to her and say, we understand that this is for women, and um, your values align with our values. Can we be in the community? And so her community, she called them the free mamas, and we had 2 free papas. And so my point in that story, though, is it was not built as a program for the men. It was not built as a program for the dog moms, but they were attracted to the messaging of the one mom who didn't have to choose. So when you are writing, you need to talk to that one person. With our graphic, it's the one person in green that you are talking to. The others may also be attracted to that messaging, but that one person is the one person that we are talking to, right? And then the T becomes it's transformation. What becomes possible? This is one of my favorites because here's the thing. So many of us were not allowed to dream about what was possible when we were kids. We were told anything was possible, but really what you're going for is a little white picket fence and an okay life. It doesn't need to be great. We don't do great around here. We do okay, at least in the way I was brought up was we're middle class. We will always be middle class. And for a long time, I believed that. And then I'm going to get a little philosophical for you if you'll hang out with me for a minute. But basically, what ended up happening is I started to realize that my realm of real, my realm of what was possible, was not the same as the realm of the people that raised me, of my siblings, of other people that I knew. Our realm of real, which is what I call it, is kind of like a Venn diagram. There are parts of it that overlap, and that is where we coexist. But when I talked to my parents about my life choices and what I wanted to do and what I believed was possible, it was very easy to see that their generation did not believe that. Not only did their generation not believe that, but their generation wholeheartedly believed something very different. Um, and so the transformation is this: we're building the connection, and the transformation comes when we convert them into a hot lead, a warm lead, a client, um, a potential referral, a networking partner, a, you know, joint venture partner. That is where the transformation happens. The transformation is what becomes possible. So, so what I want you to do, and this is something that is so important, and we just talked a little bit about stories, is like you have to have a story with a direction. It has to have a point, it has to have a lesson, and it needs to have an invitation. And so, I want you to pause the video, or if you're doing this live, just write it in the chat. If you could say, "Hey, um, I, if this sounds like you, the next step would be in working with you," right? I am going to hurry this along, guys, because I feel like the universe is a little bit working against me this morning or this afternoon. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share a quick story. I do this a lot. One of my favorite stories. Um, and you can use the heart framework to let me check how we're actually doing here. The battery says it's about to die, so we'll see. And I'm not at home. 2%. So we don't have a ton of time. Oh gosh. So here's what you're going to do. This is that shaped how you do business. The belief that it gave you, the person who needs to hear it. Those are my notes. You get them too. Yay. We're writing for clarity, not for content. This is a win. One message that you can actually use. So a moment could be something very, very pedestrian, like cooking cookies with your kids. It is so amazing to me, and it does shape my business, the way I parent and the way I do things like that. And this is my example. Cooking cookies with your kids, the belief that it gave me was that anything is possible unless you're cooking with two teenagers, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, in which case flexibility is key. The belief that it gave me, still anything's possible, but I've learned a lot of lessons from this. If the kids start to fight and we decide we're just going to eat that cookie dough, that could be a lesson on learning how to pivot or managing teams. If we get all the way to the cookies and we burn them, that's a lesson that, sometimes you can do everything right and it doesn't work. And then you figure out who's the person that needs to hear this. The person that needs to hear this for me is somebody who's doing business, who feels like they're doing everything, but they need to hear that they're okay. Like one step, we're trying to do 1% better, not 100% better. And so I want you to take a couple minutes, and it can be anything, a pivot in your business. It could be a pivot in your life that affected your business. Um, I'll give you one more story real quickly. Hopefully the live stays up. My mother passed away last June. When she died, they had just come back from a trip, and my father asked my sister and I if we would clean my mom's luggage. And so we unpacked all of her things. And at the very bottom of the the very bottom, there was a note that said, it was a poem that said, "Don't quit." It had no price tag on it. My sister handed it to me and she said, "This is for you. You need this. You need to hear this." And it's a message from mom. And so it's something that I share often, but it has affected how I do my business and how I continue to move forward. I will put into the speaker notes if you are interested. I have what's called Story Sparks, which are 25 prompts to get you started. Guys, you have a story, and your story is the strategy. You can do amazing things with Modern Business Mastery. And if you have any questions, like I said, put them in the chat, or you can email me at Kelly with a Y at kellyharriscreative.com. And I would love to be able to support you and your stories and turning them into strategies to help you grow your business. Thanks, y'all. I'm going to unshare maybe if we know how to do that. And yeah, see what's going on. So, all right, cool. Until next time, friends.